Shalom, shalom. Back again, man. Tuesday, a double header, double denal. Uh, Back again, man. Hopeful elect. I got the brothers with me. God is my help. Azrael, Obadiah, the Bible Prince. God is my salvation. Hustle for Israel. Right. And today, I'm gonna have another short little lesson for you guys today. I hope yesterday was edifying and encouraging. Today, we're going to be going over uh, something that we kind of encountered a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Brothers encounter often, right? First and foremost, we want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of the only begotten Son, who is the instrument of salvation for the nation, right? The title of the video is called Knowing When to Cut the Line. Knowing when to cut the line, right? What do I mean by that, right? So there's an activity out there, man. It's a pastime, and is often associated with us in the truth, and that is fishing, right? As fishers of men, that's our job to go and fish for men, right? Fishing for men for the Lord. Um, and if you ever been fishing before, right? Especially nowadays, you know, you go to your favorite pond, you might go to a new pond, or whether you want to fish at a lake or whatever. Um, a lot of times it's kind of productive to go fish by the banks, right? Wherever you may be at, the banks of the water. And at the banks of the water, man, is when you have the thick brush and the briars even underneath the water that you might not be able to see. And sometimes you can get your line snagged. Uh, um, and when that happens, you know, sometimes you sitting there pulling, you pulling. There's times where I done pulled, my line got caught up, I done pulled and snapped my rod, right? You don't want to snap your rod. What happens if you don't want to snap your rod and your line is, you know, down there and it won't free up? You got to cut it, right? So this video is dedicated for the fishers of men and knowing when to cut the line, right? What do I mean by that? There's many times when we go out and when we go out, um, you know, there's times where we might throw that line out there to somebody and it might seem like it's stuck, right? This conversation might seem stuck, might seem like it's going nowhere. Know when to cut the line and restring it up and recast it out there, right? Um, Let me share my screen. Like I said, this one shouldn't be long at all. But it's just a topic that I wanted to go over with because I know a lot of brothers in the truth um, deal with it, right? First precept I got, sharing my screen. The brother could read that for me.
Con, Matthew 7 and verse 6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you.
Right, man. You gotta have good discernment in this truth, especially when you're a teacher or you're going out to make disciples of men. Right, you don't want to cast what's holy unto the dogs. Right, neither cast your pearls before the swine. Right, because if you do that, if you take the goodly things and you give it to somebody that really don't care about it, right? Oftentimes it's going to get trampled under their feet, turned again. They might rend. And we see stuff like this happen in 4K. You give a brother a flyer, you give the brother a card. Before they bend the corner, they tossing it in the trash, right? Or they bend the corner, next thing they ripping it. You know what I'm saying? They rending it, right? This is what Matthew 7 and 6 is talking about. You got to know when to spot these people and know when to save your money, right? You spend good, hard-earned money on that literature, right? You don't want to give it to folks that is gonna end up trampling it or rending it, right? Go ahead, brother Obadiah.
Hey man, that's some I said that's some real you just said. Cause I know when I was younger in the truth, I used to when I was in school, right, I used to print out flyers and just hand them to every Israelite I seen. But I remember one time, like last year, 2 years ago, when I was with New Wine and we went out to FAMU to bring the word out, and there was another camp out there as well too. trying to spread the word and teach the gospel and things like that. So after we got done teaching, you look on the ground, it was so much, so many flyers on the ground. You could have built a house out of those flyers. Like, it was so many papers on the ground of the truth of our people being the Israelites, but people were just throwing them on the ground. They'll take them and throw them down. So that's a good point that you made, man. You don't want to you want to use discernment. We know we know that we want to put our brick in. We know that we want to get this word out as much as we can. And you never know who it's for, but you just got to be wise, because if a person don't really care about it, you don't really want to give them no card, nothing like that, because 9 times out of 10, especially if they scoffing, they ain't gonna want it, or they gonna throw it down. So that's why it's good to have discernment, and definitely have discernment. That don't mean that you can't tell them the truth. That don't mean that you can't talk to them. But just be careful on who you give information to, because you could have gave it to somebody else that was willing to listen.
Man, losing your money, man. You know what I'm saying? It's them pearls. You know what I'm saying? Somebody read this for me. Proverbs 23:9.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 23 and verse 9. And it reads, "Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words."
Right. You want to speak not into the ears of a fool, man. It's really not hard to get that discernment. I know when we was in the world, when we was in a fraternity, you know what I'm saying, you knew who was really interested in trying to gain information of said fraternity or trying to be a part of said fraternity, because they always used to, they were reactive. They what is that? Reactive conversation, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, where they ask questions, you know what I'm saying, they're consistent, you know what I'm saying, they come back X, Y, and Z. Not necessarily saying that every person that you talk to has to come back, but you can get a gist of whether or not a person is interested in what you're talking about or not, right? Sometimes they be engaged. You can kind of tell when a brother or a sister, you call them over and they kind of ditch what they was doing. You can see it on their countenance that they're not worried about what they was previously doing, because they locked in the conversation, versus somebody that's just there to try to just be polite, or somebody that really don't care about what you're talking about at all, right? So it's very important that we seek, not only just seek people, but we can discern who we should be wasting our time, money, and effort on, and when we need to cut the line, right? You have something to say again, Brother Obadiah?
Yeah. Right when I had read that verse, "Speak not in the ears of a fool," I think this also can go for brothers that go out and teach on the streets. If you don't talk to a brother 2 or 3 times, like, how you may have some people that be out street teaching, and the same person come up scoffing.
Yeah, the regular.
On the regular, right? He's gonna come up scoffing, and it's a person that continue to entertain that person, continuing to talk to him and go back and forth with him. It's like gotta come a time where like you don't speak to him no more.
Right.
He's gonna despise your words, man. He ain't really trying to hear what you're saying.
Right. He's really just trying to cause confusion. I think we've done a good job of that now, of spotting those regular scoffers. And when they come, I know for me personally, I don't want to say a word to them, because you say one word to them, that just give them the key to open up folly, right? I ain't gonna respond to nothing. Keep on pushing it. You know what I'm saying? So we can have a productive day. And when you look at the scriptures, that's what Yahushua did. That's what Christ did, right? He was found ignoring people sometimes, right? If he felt like he didn't want to waste his time, or he just seen some folly coming, so a lot of times he held his peace, or he ignored somebody. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes that's what you got to do, and it's not necessarily being rude, but that's called being spiritually mature, right? And that's called having another fruit of the spirit called self-control. You ain't got to talk to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't deserve for you to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? But that's a mighty point, right? I'm gonna get my next precept real quick. Let's go to the book of Matthew. We're gonna go to the book of chapter 10, and verse 14. Right? Matthew 10 and 14. Brother Obadiah.
Matt, okay, come, my bad. Matthew 10 and 14. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when you depart out of their house or city, shake out the dust of your feet.
Right, man. This is for all my brothers out there, man, that's trying to expand or try to find a new place to build on or a new place to teach, right? I brought this up because sometimes we can have a vision of where we want to teach at. We have a vision of what we think is gonna be popping. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like fishing. I can drive by a pond all day and I'd be like, man, that looks like the ideal place to go fishing. I get out there and there's no fish biting, right? Same thing for In This Truth. You got an ideal vision of where you want to go teach at and stuff like that, right? But you done been there 2, 3, 4 times, no good encounters. Sometimes you're not even talking to nobody. You really just wasting your time, brothers, right? Pick a spot that you're gonna have a fruitful time, right? Because we go out there for what reason? We go out there for the lost sheep and to get the lost sheep, right? You're wasting your time if you're going out there and you don't ever see no lost sheep. You're wasting your time if you go out there and you only run into scoffers and beggars and heathen, right? You're kind of wasting your time. Pick spots, you know what I'm saying? And so if you know that spot is not fruitful, shake off the dust, right, of your feet. Go to the next city. Go to the next spot. You know what I'm saying? This video is really is important because you got to know when to cut the line because you wasting time. When you go out there fishing, right? And you had a good you think you had a good fishing spot, right? And you're not biting nothing. After about an hour or two, you already know if that spot is good or not, or if you're gonna have some luck. If not, it's time to go to find the next lake or pond or whatever, because you only got so much time in the day. Right? You don't waste all your time in one area just casting your line. You know what I'm saying? And you want to catch fish, right? That's the whole point of fishing, right? You got to stop wasting your time. This time is valuable. Know when to cut the line. I'm sitting here. I'm at the pond. My line got snatched into the briars and the brush, right? I'm trying to pull it out, right? I'm trying to be all savvy and whatnot. And try not to break my line, try not to snap my rod. Meanwhile, everybody that I'm fishing with, you know what I'm saying? They catching fish left and right. I'm wasting time. Just go ahead and cut the line, restring it so you can get back to fishing. Know when to cut the line, know when your time is being wasted, not just with people, but sometimes you can waste your own time. Understand that we got to be more productive as people in this truth. You know what I'm saying? As men in this truth, because we were commanded to do what? Go out and make disciples of men. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that, you got to find the most optimal ways to do that. Right.
Also, too, you know, when you fish, a lot of times when you find the fish, it could be a school of fish. It could be a lot of fish, but that doesn't mean that they're going to bite. Sometimes you get in some of these fishing videos and they'll be like, man, we seen the fish. We found the fish. They just not hungry. They just not biting. And you end up wasting a whole day because you're excited because you saw all the fish. I say that to say sometimes when you're preaching the word or spreading the gospel, sometimes you may go to an event where you know they're not going to want to hear the word, where you know they're just going to be passing you by, where you know they're going to be scoffing. You go into concerts, you outside of clubs, you outside of whatever event, folly events where nobody wants to talk to you, nobody wants to stop, and you end up just being out there until it gets dark and you don't really have any productive conversations. You got to understand what's gonna, you know, you kind of have to be stingy with your word, right? You got to be stingy with your time. And that's how you gotta treat it, man, because yes, it says go out and compel them to come to the marriage, right? Good or bad. Right. But if they're not going to hear, they ain't got ears to hear. Hey, what's the point of talking to them? They're not going to receive it. You got to be witty and count the cost of every single time you spread this gospel, because you want to make the most out of it. You want to be the most productive wherever you go.
Come on, man. Just to piggyback on this, I got this precept pulled up, 2 Peter 2 and verse 22. Brother Azrael, could you read that for me?
The book of 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 22. But it has happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the soul that was washed to her wallowing in the mire.
Man, just to piggyback on what both the brothers just said, over and over again, you know what I'm saying, we return to the same. This is talking to us. We return to the same circumstances that we know didn't work out the last time. Because, sometimes it's pride too. Sometimes it's like, nah, man, I know this is going to work, right? It could be showing up to a place, like you keep showing up to in front of Hooters every Sabbath, right? And it's just not being fruitful. Or you keep talking to the same brother, the same sister every Sabbath, is not being fruitful. It's like you were returning to your vomit again, right? And then it says the soul that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. So it didn't work out this time, right? And then you got washed from it. It's a whole new Sabbath day, a whole new day of fishing for men, right? You have a brand new start, and you go right back to wallowing in your mire, right? With the same focus. And sometimes it's not necessarily the place or the person. Sometimes it's your spiel. Maybe your spiel, maybe how you breaking it down, maybe the questions that you're asking aren't fruitful. Sometimes it's time to switch it up. You know what I'm saying? And kind of go away from your previous MO. Again, that's an attack on pride that we got to examine ourselves and go back to the drawing board. Be real with ourselves. I have to have that discernment though, right? Which leads me to this. Let's go to the book of Titus. We're going to go to the book of Titus, chapter 3 and verse number 9. You can read this, brother.
Khan, this is Titus. This is Titus, chapter 3 and verse 9, and it reads, "But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain."
Right, man. And as the Israelites, we're very zealous about our law, right? So sometimes we can get caught up in this trap. A lot of the times. Matter of fact, the brother Yeshaya, man, when we went up and we was with the servants, there was a person that came up. At first, he seemed sincere. Everybody thought he was sincere at first, right? At the end of the day, he did all of this stuff right here. He asked foolish questions, right? He contended about genealogies, right? Who we were and all that stuff, right? He was striving about which laws we were supposed to keep. He was arguing for the universal laws, right? And at the end of the day, it showed that the man was unprofitable and vain, right? In the conversation was unprofitable because at the end, everybody, all of us understood that this person was up here just to waste our time. We should have. And the brother Yeshaya, he did the right thing. He kind of tried to send the brother on his way earlier on in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you need to do to have a fruitful day, because we spent an hour plus on somebody, right? When we could have been talking to somebody that was actually sincere. And we let him get some of us riled up. You know what I'm saying? And he came by, and you could tell that when he rode by, that conversation he had was just for his entertainment and just for his fun, and that he didn't mean nothing he said, and he didn't mean to have a genuine conversation. We have to spot these people out, and we got to do like the brother Yeshaya did on that day, and try to send these people on their way, on to the next person, right? Y'all seen that? Y'all remember that TV show back on, I think it was VH1 or MTV, called Next, where they had contestants in a van, and they all used to go, everybody had a chance to go date this one person, whether it be a guy or a girl, right? One person would get off the van, they go on their date, they start the timer. If the first person might make it maybe 20 minutes, right? And then the person says, "I'm sorry, this is not gonna work out." Next. And then the next person walk off the bus or the van, right? And they start the timer again, they start going on their date. Before it even 10 seconds, the person say, "Next." Why am I even gonna waste my time? I know for a fact as soon as I seen you, this wasn't gonna work, right? We gotta have that same discernment like on that TV show Next. from VH1 or MTV, right? It's got to be quick. You know what I'm saying? Because again, we're out there to be profitable. We're out there to be fruitful, right? We're out there to multiply. You know what I'm saying? And we got to be able to spot the foolish ones and get them out the way, right? I'm gonna go to. Let's go to Proverbs. There's a lot of bangers in Proverbs with this on this topic.
You, Salaki King, and you will come to like for the brothers that street teach, man. If you just do what Titus 3:9 said and avoid these things, you will see how peaceful you will be at camp, and how the day will go smooth. Like, you know how you may watch some videos or some brothers, like, it just back and forth. Now brothers getting loud, the scarf getting loud, then the brother that's teaching getting loud, then he want to lay hands on the scarf, and then the scarf want to lay hands on him, and now it's getting violent, and now it's words getting said both ways. So it's like, if we just do what Titus, what the scripture said in Titus, you know, camp will go smooth. A lot of times, I'm gonna be honest. It's not all the times, but a lot of times we bring brothers that we actually go out and teach. We bring this upon ourselves because we try to get into genealogies. We try to get into the things that's in the law. You know, getting too deep, trying to figure out, you know, what tribe you from? Me trying to get down the line. Then it's all type of debating. Like, we bring that we bring that to ourselves a lot of times, man. But if we just did what the scripture said in Titus, you know, it'll go smooth as day, man. A lot of times at camp. But you got it, King.
Come on, man. Also, I want to say this too. Actually, we can read this one first, and then I'll kind of explain that. Whoever next, I think it's you, Obadiah.
Proverbs 18:2. A fool has no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself.
Right. A fool has no delight in understanding, right? And a lot of times they just hearing you talk just to figure out how they can still be right, right? Pinpointing every single word that you might say, whatever, even if you're making sense. And the point I was going to make is a lot of times, sometimes this doesn't necessarily, I mean, of course, this applies to us going out on the street corners, but this applies also to the brother that's not in a camp, that's not on the street corner, to the sister, to the ribs, right? And when you're on your day-to-day, whether you be at work or whether you be, you know, just on the highways and byways at the gas station, whatever, somebody see your fringes or whatever, and you get to talking about it, right? This goes into play with that. You have to discern too. You can't be that person that be like, man, I don't ever get to teach nobody. So the first person I get the inkling I can teach, I'm gonna teach it, right? You still have to have that discernment whether or not that person's gonna waste your time or not too, right?
All in the comment sections,
right? It's called self-control, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of people get that itch to teach somebody, right? So they pick the first person at their convenience, right? The first person to say something about their fringes, the first person that asks them a question about something, right? Then they want to open up and give them a whole book or try to be extra suave in their approach and all of this stuff. And it goes and it falls on deaf ears because the person, you didn't discern that the person really didn't care, right? Or the person already had their mind made up, like this verse right here is just listening to you so they could discover their heart and try to figure out still how they're right. You know what I'm saying? You have to discern this too, not just for the brothers that go out every week, but for the brothers and sisters that stay home and that might not teach, man. And it's a hard itch to get rid of, because when you get that itch to teach somebody, it almost happens instinctively that you know, it just comes out and you start, you give them the whole nine. You might pull out your phone and pull out your notes and just start going crazy for 20 minutes. Next thing you know, the person cutting you off, hey, I'm gonna have to go, man. This was a nice conversation. And then hear not a word you said, right? So you have to be able to discern this as well, right? You gotta know when to cut the line as well, right? And I got one more precept. It's gonna be in Proverbs 2. Now I could have pulled out about 30 precepts in Proverbs because Proverbs talks about this topic a lot, right? But I'm gonna go to one of the classics. Let's go to Proverbs 26 and verse number 4. And we back at the top. Well, actually, hold up. I think there was more on this. Yeah. 18 and 3. You can finish this out. It just expounds on it a little bit more, Obadiah. You're on mute.
All right. Proverbs 18 and 3. When the wicked cometh, then cometh also contempt, and with ignominy,
Think so.
reproach.
Right, man. So when the wicked cometh, man, it also comes with contempt, contention, right? Facetiousness, sarcasm. You know what I'm saying? And it often leaves you with a reproachful taste. And now, after the conversation, you kind of thinking to yourself, you get in your car, you kind of thinking, dang, was it something I said? I know I said it right. You kind of thinking like, dang, man, maybe I should get somebody's opinion on how this conversation just went. I wonder if I could have went about it a different way. No, brother, no, sister, there's nothing you could have did because that person wasn't genuine in the first place, right? And if that person was genuine, trust me, the conversation would be fruitful. Why? Because the person would express interest. They would genuinely try to get to know what you're talking about. A lot of times we can't pick that up. If you walk away with that feeling like, dang, it just seemed like the brother or sister just didn't get it. Obviously, either it wasn't for them or they wasn't trying to get it. Right? If I'm just being frank, you know what I'm saying? We've been doing this for a little while, right? And these are the stuff that we kind of pick up, you know. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 26, and verse number 4. The classic. Brother Azrael.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 26 and verse 4. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him.
And the brother Obadiah touched on it a little bit, right? A lot of times fools come up, man, and they be on folly. They ask folly questions. They say folly things, and sometimes you good at first, but then they kind of keep continuing, and then you kind of just fall susceptible to that itch of giving into them. You know what I'm saying? And then before you know it, people walking by, you know, somebody might be in the corner, they just see y'all both going at it. They think both of y'all look foolish. You know what I'm saying? Knowing when to cut the line. Sometimes you're sitting there going back and forth with your rod, right? Brothers is fishing on the side of you. Bro, just cut the line, bro. You're not finna get it out, bro. You've been trying to get it out for 30 minutes now. Just cut the line. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's us, you know? And again, man, we got to know when to cut that line because we wasting valuable time, right? That's bars, man, you know? Is the spirit just comes, you know, and, you know, become a rapper type thing. You know what I'm saying? But you got to know when to cut the line.
Go on and cut that line, brother. Lord, get that spirit on you.
Got to know when to cut the line, man. That's all I got. If any brothers got anything else, let me know.
Man, shake the dust off your feet, man. Don't waste too much time. The kingdom of heaven is at hand.
God, man.
Yeah, man.
I was gonna say, yeah, man. Sometimes it hurts more to hold on than to let go. You know what I'm saying? So, mighty lesson.
God, wise proverb, man. Hurts more to hang on than to let go, man. You know, learn when you hanging on too long, right? You have something to say, Obadiah?
Nah, man. Hey, the kingdom of heaven, like the brother Azrael said, hey, the kingdom of heaven at hand, man. Hey, the king is on his way.
Come on, man. We have valuable time that we have to give, and we don't want to waste it, man, because the kingdom of heaven is at hand, right? Kingdom of heaven is at hand, and we want to make the most of our time in every situation, especially when we make up our mind to go out and to teach, right? We're on one mission, right? To see how much fish we can bring home. You know, home is the kingdom of heaven. How many fish can we get to the kingdom of heaven? How many fish can we bring to feed feed our families? You know what I'm saying? But that's all I got, man. With that being said, we give our honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of His only begotten Son, who's an instrument of salvation for the nation, right? And He also said, if you're not helping to gather, you helping to scatter. And if you're not cutting the line, right? If you don't know when to cut the line, I'm going on a limb and say you helping to scatter too, right? You're not gathering, you just wasting time. So know when to cut the line, right? And we'll see you guys tomorrow. We got a lesson tomorrow for tomorrow, Wednesday. Somebody goes to Wednesdays. Is that Obadiah? Con, man. Lord willing, we'll be back on tomorrow. Con. Lord willing, we'll be back on tomorrow. I told you guys this wasn't gonna be a long one. You know what I'm saying? But I hope it was a good one. I hope it was edifying. Hope you guys take something from it, right? And that's to cut the line. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. We say shalom.
Shalom.